Rate conversions, a tutorial and self-test all in one. In this short tutorial video, we will cover how to convert some units into other units. For example, time, weight, and distance. Hours to minutes, pounds to ounces, and miles to yards. First, some background information and then some facts, or perhaps just some review for you. Multiplying any number times 1 is just that number. You get the same number. For example, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 3.3 is 3.3. 1 times a half is a half. Okay, so you have it down that any number times 1 is just the same number. But the number 1 can be written in many different ways. For example, 1 over 1 is 1. 0.5 over 0.5, this is in a fractional form, is 1. 1 half divided by 1 half, or 1 half over 1 half, is 1. Pi over pi is 1. But why is it so that any number over itself is equal to 1? Well, 1 over 1 is 1 because it's just 1 divided by 1. How many times will 1 go into 1? 1 time. 2 over 2 is 1 because it's just 2 divided by 2. How many times will 2 go into 2? 1 time. 5.5 over 5.5 is 1 because it's just 5.5 divided by 5.5. How many times will 5.5 go into 5.5? Exactly 1 time. 1 half divided by 1 half is 1 because it's just 1 half divided by 1 half. How many times will 1 half go into 1 half? 1 time. Okay, so I've belabored this point of any number times 1 just equal to the same number. And I have belabored the point that any number over itself is just 1. If you're not fully able to wrap your brain around these points, watch the rest of this video. Then you might need to watch the first part again before you try the self-test at the end of this video. A quick review. Multiplying any number times 1 is just that number. And the number 1 can be written in different ways. The length of 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Perhaps you already knew that. 1 foot equals 12 inches, but 12 inches also equals 1 foot. 1 can be written as 1 foot over 12 inches or 12 inches over 1 foot. See, we'll take a look. 1 foot, it's the same unit of length as 12 inches, and so it turns out to be just 1. 12 inches over 1 foot turns out to be just 1. Now, 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So we can write 1 mile as 5,280 feet. What we're really doing here is we're putting miles in the numerator and feet in the denominator, and that equals 1. Here we have 5,280 feet. We have feet in the numerator position and miles in the denominator position. This gets important in just a few moments. And that equals 1. Okay? 1 yard equals 3 feet. We can put the yard in the numerator's position and feet in the denominator's position, and that equals 1. 1 yard, 3 feet. Or we can flip that over and we can have 3 feet, feet in the numerator's position, and yard in the denominator's position, and that equals 1. So how does all this help us convert feet to inches or miles to yards? Well, we'll take a look at that next, and then there will be some practice exercises for you to try. Convert a mile to yards. Well, we can write a mile as 5,280 feet per mile, and then we multiply that times 1 yard over 3 feet. We chose feet to be in the numerator and the denominator's position. Here, feet in the numerator, and here, feet in the denominator, so that they will cancel. Now, we have yards left and miles left. Do the multiplication, and we wind up with 5,280 times 1, because the feet didn't go away, it just became 1, and times 1 yard, and mile times 3 times 1. So that all becomes 5,280 times 1 yard, all of that over miles times 3. That can be rewritten as 5,280 yards per 3 miles. Now I changed the color of yards here because this is yard spelled out, and this is the abbreviation for yards. So now we will take a look at this. What do we do with this? Okay, so now we have 5,280 yards per 3 miles. But we want to know what the unit rate is. The question was, how many yards are in a mile? Then it just becomes a straightforward division problem, top in, bottom out. So 5,280 goes in, 3 goes on the outside. We go through all of the long division process here, and we come up with 1,760 yards per mile. All right, convert 72 inches into yards, or here it is abbreviated, convert 72, this means inches, into yards. YDS is how we abbreviate yards. Okay, we're going to convert 72 inches into yards. 72 inches is how many yards? Well, let's multiply this times 1, and we will say that 1 yard is 36 inches. And then it just becomes a straightforward multiplication of a fraction times a fraction. We can cancel inches in the numerator with inches in the denominator. Now we have 72 times 1 yard. That's 72 yards. That's our numerator. And as our denominator, we have 1 times 36. This isn't inches anymore. We canceled them. This is the pure number 36. And so this just becomes 36. And now it becomes a straightforward long division problem. How many times will 36 go into 72? Well, exactly 2 times. Our answer is 2 yards. The question was, how many yards is 72 inches? It's 2 yards. All right, convert 9 inches into centimeters. 9 inches. We want to know is how many centimeters. Well, it turns out 1 centimeter all right, 9 inches into centimeters. Well, it turns out 1 inch is exactly equal to 2.54 centimeters. So we can write this in the form of 1. We have inches in the numerator's position here, and we want inches in the denominator's position, so I have 1 inch. And we're going to multiply 9 inches times 1. It's 2.54 centimeters. So I have 2.54 centimeters. Now, this means multiplication. So 9 times 2.54, we'll do that in a second, equals 1. Oh, inches cancel with inches. So now I just have 1 times 1. So this ultimately winds up just being 9 times 2.54. So let's say 2.54 times 9. And that's 36. And we carry the 3. And that's 45. And that is 8. I carry the 4. And that is 18. And that's 22. And I have 2 decimal places. So I move my decimal over 2 places. And my correct answer is going to be 22.86 centimeters. So the question was, 9 inches is how many centimeters? It's 22.86 centimeters. Okay, convert 37 minutes into hours. Well, we have 37 minutes. And I'm just going to put that over 1 because that's a fraction, and that puts that into a fractional form. And I'm going to multiply this times 1. And let's see, we have 60 minutes equals 1 hour. So I can put the minutes in my denominator's position. So I have 60 minutes, abbreviated with just an M there, 1 hour. This is just the number 1. 1 hour over 60 minutes is exactly equal to 1. Now I can come through and do my multiplication. Now I can come in and do canceling. So minutes cancel with minutes. So now this 60 is just a pure number. It doesn't have any units connected to it. And this 37 is just a pure number. It doesn't have any units connected to it. But I'm going to multiply that times 1 hour. So 37, pure number, times 1 hour is 37 hours. And 1 times 60 is 60. So the question was, 37 minutes is how much of an hour? 37 hours over 60. And by the way, this in the numerator could be shifted over here. So we could rewrite this as 37 60th hours. Then this just becomes a long division problem, top in, bottom out. So we put the top in, 37 divided by 60. Will not go into 37. So we'll stick a 0 in here and add a decimal. And then we can stick a 0 here. And it looks like 6 times 60 is 360. So that leaves us with 10 left over. 60 will not go into 10, but we can add a 0, and 60 will go into 100 one time. And that leaves us with 60. We do the subtraction, and that leaves us with 40. 60 will not go into 40, but it will go into 400, and it will go 6 times. And so 6 times 60 is 360. And we do the subtraction. That leaves us with 40. And 60 will not go into 40, but it will go into 400. So we're kind of in a little loop here. So this will wind up being a 6 and a 6 and a 6 and a 6, and it's a repeater. So the question was 37 minutes into hours is 0.6166 hours. So 37 minutes is 0.6 hours in round numbers. Correct to 2 decimal places would be 0.61, and correct to 3 decimal places, of course, would be 0.616. All right, we're going to take a look at 6 feet into centimeters. So we have 6 feet, and we know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. We're given 6 feet. So first we're going to have to convert 6 feet into inches, and then we're going to have to multiply, or go through and multiply times 1 to find out how many centimeters that is. So 6 feet, we know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So we'll multiply 6 feet times 1, 12 inches over 1 foot. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this. We have 6 times 12, that's 72. But we've canceled the feet with the feet, so that's 72 inches. We could call this a fraction here, 1 over 1. 1 times 1, these are pure numbers. They don't have units connected to them. So 1 times 1 is 1. So any number over 1 is itself. So now we have 72 inches. So 6 feet equals 72 inches. Now we need to multiply 72. We need to convert 72 inches into centimeters. So we have 72 inches. I can just call that a fraction there. And we can multiply that times 1. And we want inches on the bottom here so that we can cancel them. And that's 2.54 centimeters. And we can multiply that. Now, 72 times 2.54 is 182.88. 182.88. Our inches have canceled, so we know that these are going to be centimeters, and we can come over here and say 1 times 1 is 1, and so 6 feet is exactly 182.88 centimeters. Now you try some. Look at the problem. Click on the stop sign that you'll see in the upper right hand corner, and that'll pause the video if you're watching this on YouTube. Then try to work out the problem on a piece of scratch paper. Then click on the go sign to see the problem worked out. Convert 96 inches into feet. Your tip is that 12 inches equals 1 foot. Click on the stop sign. Okay, let's see how you did. Well, we have 96 inches, and we want to convert that into feet. So we're going to multiply that times 1 by saying 1 foot, that one little mark means feet, is 12 inches. This is just 1 now. We're going to multiply, we can cancel the inches with the inches. So now we have the pure number 96 times 1 foot. That's going to equal 96 feet. And over the pure number 12, the inches are gone. And this is just over 1, so 1 times 12 is 12. And now it simply becomes a long division problem. So what we have is 96 twelfths feet. And 96 twelfths, let's see, 12 will go into 96 exactly 8 times. So we wind up with 8 feet. That's the answer. Okay, convert 18 inches into centimeters. The hint, or the tip here, is that 1 inch is exactly equal to 2.54 centimeters. Click on the stop sign. Alright, we have 18 inches, and we want to convert that to centimeters. So we're going to multiply 18 inches, just for simplicity's sake, we'll make that into a fraction. We're going to multiply 18 inches times the number 1 with inches on the bottom. So it'll be 2.54 centimeters all over 1 inch. Turns out we can then cancel inches in the numerator, and we can cancel inches in the denominator. And so now we have the pure number 18 times 2.54 centimeters times the pure number 1 times 1. And so that's going to equal some number over 1. And our answer is going to be in centimeters, which is what we were asked to do. So now it becomes just a straightforward multiplication. So we have 2.54 times 18. This is going to be 32. Carry the 3. That's going to be 43. Carry the 4. It's going to be 8. No, it's going to be 16. Carry the 4. That'll be 20. Add a 0. That'll be 4. That'll be 5. And this will be 2. Now we add. So we have 2, 7, 5, 4. I come up to count how many decimals I had. 1, 2. I shift my decimal. I come in. So I'm at 45.72 centimeters. Because if I put 45.72 centimeters here, it's all over 1, and so my answer is going to be 45.72 centimeters. Okay, we're going to convert 150 feet into miles. So we have 150 feet. We're going to want to convert that into miles. Your tip here is that 1 mile is exactly equal to 5,280 feet. Click on the stop sign, give it a whirl. Alright, let's see how you did. 150 feet. Well, I'm going to just, for simplicity's sake, put that into a fractional form. So now I'm multiplying a fraction times a fraction. And I'm going to write the number 1 in the fractional form of feet being on the bottom because I have feet on the top here. So I'm going to multiply that times 5,280 feet, and this is going to be 1 mile. Alright, my feet cancel with my feet, becomes a pure number. So now I have 150 times 1 mile. That's going to just equal 150 miles, abbreviated with a mile. And then I'm going to multiply the pure number 1 times the pure number 5,280, and that gives me 5,280. And now that's equal to, we could just, the mile here, this can kind of just shift over here, so we can rewrite that as 150 over 5,280, and we have zeros at the end for each one, and these are miles. So this 0 cancels with that 0. And so now I have 15 over 528 miles. And if I did the top in, bottom out on this puppy here, I would wind up with 0.0284 miles. So 150 feet in miles is 0.0284, correct to 4 decimal places. All right, convert 4.4 pounds into ounces. Your tip or hint is that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Click on the stop sign. Okay, let's see how you did. We have 4.4 pounds, and I'm just going to abbreviate that LBS, and I'm going to multiply 4.4 pounds times the number 1, and I have pounds in my numerator, so I'm going to want pounds in my denominator over here, and so that's 1 pound is 16 ounces. This is just the number 1. So now I can cancel my pounds with pounds, and I have the pure number 4.4, and I have the pure number 1. This was the pure number 1, and I have 16 ounces. And do the multiplication here. 4.4, 70.4, and I'm dealing in ounces, so these are ounces. And 1 times 1 is 1, so the correct answer is 70.4 ounces. All right, convert 64 fluid ounces into gallons. Your tip or hint, something you could look up, is that 1 gallon is exactly equal to 128 fluid ounces. Click on the stop sign. All right, let's see how you did. 64 fluid ounces and we're going to multiply that times 1, so we want fluid ounces, so we have 128 fluid ounces. That's our denominator. And we have 1 gallon. That's our numerator. Just because I'm multiplying a fraction times a fraction, I'm just going to stick that over 1. Pretty soon you're going to see that this isn't really necessary. I do that there just not to confuse you, but after a while you'll get to where you won't need that. So now I have 64 fluid ounces times the number 1. 1 gallon equals 128 fluid ounces. And so I have fluid ounces in my numerator, and I have fluid ounces in my denominator. I can cancel them. Now I have 64 times 1 gallon. So I have 64 gallons per 128. And this is a pure number because I've canceled the units, so I just have 1 times 128. Now, that could be rewritten as 64 over 128, gallons. And if you do the top end, bottom out on this, you would come up with it's exactly 1/2 of a gallon. If you're getting these few right, then you're doing it right. Congratulations. If you're not, then you need to see your instructor for some help. Your comments are always welcome and appreciated. You may write to me at alanmorris@yahoo.com.